Tachi coming at you with another episode of Living Your Best Life. And I want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us for a few minutes today as we do our show here. Of course, what we do, we invite a professional on to talk about what they do and how what they do is contributing to a healthier society, a wealthier society, or just a better society in general, right? But we know that we have to start on an individual basis first. So that's what we do here. We invite those individuals that are out there in the trenches helping people on a day-to-day basis. So today we have two awesome young ladies coming onto the show to talk about mental health. This is a topic that I'm hearing more and more about, especially you're seeing so much tragedy pretty much in this country and all throughout the world. So mental health is becoming a topic that is more talked about. But the reason that I invited these two ladies onto the show today, because I love their approach. They have a holistic approach to overall mental health. So they don't just concentrate just on one thing. They look at nutrition, they look at exercise, okay, all these things that contributes to a person becoming more balanced in their lives. So listen, hang out for the show, and I'll see you on the other side of this commercial. Listen, we got a really awesome challenge coming up pretty soon. So check out the commercial below. And if you want to get on this weight loss challenge, please do reach out to us, okay? Y'all take care, and I'll see you on the other side. Be good. Bye-bye.
The TLS 30-Day Jumpstart Kit is designed to start your weight loss journey the right way. We know you want fast results without compromising flavor or satiety, and that's why this Jumpstart is just the place to begin. The 2 phases of this program will get you looking and feeling great in no time. First, we provide the essential foundation with rapid delivery and maximum absorption to promote long-term health and optimal nutrition. Phase 1 is a cleanse, a fresh start that not only gently cleanses your digestive tract, but helps curb your cravings and prepares you for the second phase. Phase 2 is the fat-burning phase. You'll modify your food plan and add in exercise and our incredible TLS nutrition shakes. This is where you'll see fat and inch loss. This comprehensive kit and program booklet has what you need to reach your health and weight management goals. Jump in today.
So welcome back, everybody, to Living Your Best Life. And of course, you know what we do. We invite the people onto the show to talk about what they do and how what they do is helping people live a better life, healthier life, and just all around just a good life. So listen, we have some awesome people on today, awesome professionals. These two ladies, as you can see, either to my right or to my left of the screen here, they are one is the founder, and the other is awesome. I met Christina a few weeks ago, and I just fell in love with what they were doing at the Oaks community when it comes to mental health. I love their approach because it is a holistic approach, and I'm all about holistic, I will say. And so I want to actually, give them the proper introduction. So I'm going to let them do it instead of me. So we have Alicia and Christina on from the Oaks community here in Greensboro. So welcome you two ladies onto the show this afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Great. So Alicia, because you are the founder of the Oaks community, I'm going to give you the opportunity to kind of like share a little bit, to my audience, who you are, and tell us a little bit about the Oaks community and, when it was founded and why.
Okay. We'll dive right in. I appreciate the opportunity to share. It's obviously one of our greatest passions, and we love to come to work every day. I mean, even on the hard days. Where to start? The Oaks is a nonprofit, 501c3, and founded in 2017 officially, but a dream and a calling of mine, honestly, since graduate school, 2003.
Gotcha.
So just slowly over time developing into way greater than I ever expected. The Oaks mission is to partner with people to find worth and wellness. And
awesome.
You'll find those 2 key words in everything we do, worth and wellness.
I did notice that on your website.
Mm-hmm.
And so Christina, tell me a little bit about who you are and what appeals to you about the mental health space.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the director of programs here at the Oaks, and really long story short, Alicia and I, connected, it's been quite a few years now.
Mhm.
We go back and look at pictures, and our like kids are like, oh,
Our
I
kids
thought
are
we just
little.
started doing this, but no, we've been doing this a long time. But it's been really cool just to see, her initial, mission and vision, with mental health. And one of the first conversations, we had was where her vision was seeing, you can't just have counseling.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
have to have these other approaches to wellness. You have to have nutrition, you have to have exercise, you have to have rest, community, all of these different pieces that go together to support your mental health. And so just with that whole holistic approach, that's one of the things we talked about previously as well. Just a passion for seeing how that really does heal your brain and your body. I mean, it's
Mhm.
something that we both practiced for years now. And, I struggle with anxiety, myself, and really being able to use this approach, that we use, and how it really does, it
Help.
really does help, is really cool. And then to be able to direct that into schools that we work with, the clients that we work with in our counseling practice, businesses, and then to see them come back and say, oh my goodness, like, this matters. I'm worth
Yes.
it. Like, I can do this. This isn't, rocket science. We say all the time, you can Google, anything about wellness kind of online. You get 5 million different, answers, but, we've come up with a very good science of this is how to do it and how to do it well.
Awesome. And I love that. Like I said, what drew me to connecting with you, Christina, when we had our conversation was once again the holistic approach. And you mentioned some really awesome things that you don't hear a lot from when it comes to mental health, nutrition, and exercise.
Right.
And it's going to be interesting to have this conversation because I want to know as we move along in the conversation, the anxiety part, because what I'm finding out is a lot of people deal with anxiety, and I would love to, speak a little bit, further down the way with regards to some tips and things like how to, lower the anxiety, if that is even possible in this conversation here. But what I would like to know, what services do you actually provide at the Oaks community?
Let me jump in there.
Sure. Yeah.
We describe it as 5 branches of care. And so the first branch is licensed clinical mental health counseling. So we have a great counseling center and see individuals and are starting to have groups, male and female clients ages 10 and above. And so licensed counseling is the first branch. The second one is the wellness consulting services. That kind of developed out of just years of experience practicing counseling and realizing that sometimes I'd get to a point with a client where there wasn't anything deeper to process. There wasn't a past traumatic event that we haven't walked through, grief, those things that you typically think of as covering in counseling, and then that'll help address the concern. But like Christina said, those symptoms are still there, like anxiety and feelings of depression. And so I started noticing it was this lack of understanding of how to incorporate all that holistic health into your mental health. And so that's where our wellness consulting services come in. It's that all around holistic, solution focused approach that's a little different than counseling.
Gotcha.
So that's number 2.
Yeah.
We can come back to that if you want to.
No, that's totally fine.
And then the third one is media education. So we got the opportunity to make 10 wellness courses based on our wellness model. And those are actually in tablets in jails all over the country. And I think we're at around 200,000 completions in those courses. And they're really practical, tangible ways to work on each spoke of the wellness model. And we get to use those with our clients. We get to use them in the companies that we work with for wellness consulting. And so we continue to make mental health related media courses. And so that's number 3. And then the fourth is community groups. So we have a Thursday night program for women and then launching one for men in the fall that again teaches this in 10 weeks approach to wellness. And we're a nonprofit. That's one program we're really proud of that we do at no cost to clients.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the fifth one is not operational, but kind of where the dream began, a residential home where women will come and live for a year. And we keep working steps toward that direction to be able to do that.
Wow, you guys are doing a lot.
We do a lot. We do a lot.
How many you guys are, because I know it's just more than you two.
Yeah, thankfully it's more than us. Yeah, we currently have 3 licensed counselors, getting blessed with interns and practicum students to help out with all those things. We have a director of marketing, a finance person, and then Christina and I, and a lot of volunteers.
Because like with everything that you mentioned, I'm thinking like you have to have an army, of people.
Yeah.
But I guess you guys are just really, passionate about what you do and focused, on what you do. So congratulations.
Well, and it's that core piece of, that worth and wellness, and we're teaching that, there's just different pieces. But we feel like, and we talk about it, like it's a lot of different pieces, but we truly believe that we need every piece of what we're doing, every approach there. And then what's really cool is seeing that overlaid approach. Whenever you're able, for instance, as an example, to go into a school and we're working with parents, and then we're working with teachers, and we're working with students, and then, but at an angle for each one of them, and then seeing them able to bring it together, in their homes. And it's just is really good. It's just a whole different approach there.
And I guess, just like with me, when a client reaches a goal, when they achieve, even a non-scale victory, it's a celebration. It's a time to kind of like say, wow, I did this. And it's very rewarding, for me. And just knowing that they are achieving their fitness and or health goals. So I guess it's really the same way with you guys, especially when you're working inside schools and jail systems, things like that, because especially I would say the jail system, because sometimes those are forgotten people.
Yeah.
And so I applaud you guys, for definitely reaching out to those individuals that we've pretty somewhat kind of written off to a degree, and so if I can ask you a question, we speak about, you stand behind the wellness and worth. What does the word wellness mean to you? If there's a definition that you guys could provide.
Sure. Well, wellness is the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead us to a state of health. That's the Global Wellness Institute definition. And that's something, especially in our courses that we actually go through and, have clients think about and how they define that, and to kind of pinpoint through those words of, what is active pursuit? That's not active pursuit of one thing. It's not just about our physical bodies, it's about, like you said, our mental health, and kind of just unpacking that.
And an ongoing pursuit. We talk a lot about intentional choices and really understanding that there are thousands that happen in a day that we choose to do or choose not to do, and that all result in benefits or lack of benefits to our brains and bodies. And so really recognizing that choice word.
And I always speak about balance, how to create balance in our lives. And I think we get we're weighed down with so much information nowadays. I mean, things are just constantly coming at us, and it can cause, I think, us to, get out of balance. And so I think that can and does and often present a problem with, our mental state. And so thankful for you guys to kind of like help us find that balance and that wellness, and I wanted to once again reach out to you ladies because of your approach. And also, are we seeing, what are some of the deficiencies, if there are any, in the mental health space today, or the profession today, that you might, that you've noticed that says, listen, we're gonna do something different here. So are there any holes in the mental health care system?
Let me go.
Yeah.
So one thing that comes to mind there, I think it takes some teaching on the front end, that this active pursuit and these intentional choices is a long-term plan, right? So we definitely have learned in recent generations, looking for a quick fix. It's hard for us to understand that it's day after day. We say progress, not perfection. And really persevering through, the things, the events in life that are out of our control, and then trying to take care of ourselves and equip our bodies to be able to walk through those things the best we can. And so, trying to help a client who's coming in for mental health services, understanding that 1 or 2 sessions is probably going to feel good and start the journey, but that this is a long-term partnership, some longer than others. And it doesn't always have to be counseling that tracks us through that growth period. We start to try to build in other support systems. It's really why we're called a therapeutic community. There's community groups, there's personal trainers, there's YMCAs and going to work out within a community. There's volunteer service. So many different things feeding into that client growing. And really, I love how our clinical director says we're trying to work ourselves out of a job, equipping that client to know how to do it on their own.
Exactly. That's pretty much where go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think too, an understanding that, it's okay to step back and know that you're worth taking care of. I think society creates, this expectation that you're just supposed to, be somebody's mom, be somebody's dad, be a wife, be a husband, be a this, be a that. And that you're, it almost makes you feel guilty if you're taking these other things first. And I think one thing we do really well too is helping in all of everything that we do, just helping people understand that it's okay, step 1, to take care of yourself. That's not selfish. And it reminds me, I say it all the time. I use the example of, we look around and we think people have it together, or even like our kids, just knowing that they are worth it and that value of who they're created to be. And, I asked my kid a few months ago in the car, who has everything that she needs. I mean, long story short, she's got it made, and I was like, guys, actually talking to both of my kids, I was like, tell me one good thing about yourself, and they couldn't tell me one positive thing about themselves. And that's a true story, an 11 and 14-year-old where, we overlook all of that because we're constantly just go, go, go. And we're trying to do everything of the world. And, we're not stepping back and really focusing, on taking care of ourselves and giving ourselves those rewards and those, we call them paydays. Whenever we do things that are good, that progress there. So.
I bet they can probably share with you a few things that they don't like about themselves. That seems to be pretty much an easy. I have one client who constantly she's critical of herself. And so just trying to reshape that conversation that she's having in her mind. And it's actually, there's a payoff in it to some degree, because it actually motivates her, if she just
Oh, yeah.
continues to kind of like, beat herself up. And it's like, it's a double-edged sword, in a sense. And so, but that's a really, I appreciate you sharing that, Christina, because um, it, that was deep. I didn't expect to, hear that,
Mhm.
but it's so true. We are, when years ago, I was having a conversation, and it's the hardest thing for us to say, I love me. We can say I love you to,
Mhm.
everyone else, but when it comes to saying I love me, it's almost, oh, I can't say that because it's selfish, like you said, you know.
Mhm.
And that is so far from the truth. My goodness, if we don't love ourselves, and this, I think, is what is showing up in society, is
Mhm.
is that we aren't giving ourselves any value. We don't know how to say I love me. We
Mhm.
So, like I said, we can come up with all the negative um, uh, traits about ourselves, but it's very hard to come up with the good stuff. And
And it's so cool, when you can say that, how it equips you to then go and care for everybody else so much
mm,
more effectively. When
mm,
that foundation's there, it ends up being completely not
yeah,
selfish, because then you're just can do so many more things when you have
yeah,
that core belief.
yeah. How do you ladies start your day?
Exercise, usually
Exercise, okay.
exercise, prayer. Um,
Every morning I get up and I make coffee. I love coffee. I try to regulate it, but I look forward to sitting in this one chair
Yeah.
and maybe on my porch if it's warm enough, and for a good 30 minutes at least, where I'm not bossing anybody around, I'm not
Hmm.
making a bunch of decisions, and just like really either reading the Bible, praying, reflecting, just thinking.
Yeah.
Um, we talk
Yeah.
about power spokes,
Hmm.
and in our wellness model, that is my power spoke. If I
Gotcha.
start my day that way, it fuels the rest of the day.
Awesome. I had to ask that question.
Yeah. And then exercise.
And
Yeah.
I got to throw that in there. Christina, you had mentioned that earlier, and that was something that I wanted to come back to, because I think a lot of times when I have spoken with other counselors in the past, I don't get too much of the conversation from them where they are realizing the value, or they understand the value of exercise, and also where nutrition plays a part in that,
Mhm.
a person's mental state. And I say that because when I lived in New York City, I used to watch kids every morning go to their before school. They used to go to what's called the bodega. That's really like the corner grocery store, and they would load up on sugar, like sugary
Mhm.
drink, colored sugar drinks,
Mhm.
and like a bag of chips or some cookies and things like that. And so
Mhm.
they're pretty much setting themselves up for a high and then a drastic low.
Crash, yeah.
And yeah, so do you guys cover that topic also at the Oaks community?
Oh, yeah.
yes. I mean, and just you talk about the exercise piece too. I mean, I say this lightly, but it is 100% true. I mean, there have been actual times where I've been just a wreck,
Mhm.
at home, and just super like, anxiety and stressed, and, just snapping at, especially during
Mhm.
COVID,
Mhm. Mhm.
at people. And then, I'll leave, I'll go to the gym, and I'll come back, and my kids, again, they're like, you're like a different person. I'm like, yeah, I know, because it's complete. It's for my mental health. Like, it
Yeah.
is not, I have not gotten on a scale. This is the honest truth. In 2,
Mhm.
maybe 3 years, like,
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
when I've gone to the doctor, I literally look up. I will not look at it.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with a number. I
Yeah.
mean, it's how I feel. And we always say, like, I wish I could bottle up in a little pill form or something
Mhm.
to give
Mhm.
people to see what it feels like. That what's the just what it feels like when you're, taking care of yourself, and you're,
Yeah.
putting the
Yeah.
right foods in
Yeah.
your body, because you can
Mhm.
tell a huge difference when when you're not.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's that same way for food. You know, we are together kind of on this journey where we're really paying attention to the foods we put in, even more so than normal. And even that, ratcheting up a nutrition plan, like just in equipping you to do the day, it's incredible. And so you think about those kids you're talking about, you know, to change just that one piece of wellness can drastically affect the rest of their day, their academic performance, their motivation, their relationships with each other, and how patient they can be. Like it dominates everything.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I keep saying it. I don't care because I think you guys are doing an awesome job there. When it's like I said, with those two things alone, that I don't think is really acknowledged enough when it comes to mental health. And this is just my opinion, and just, you know, from conversations that I've had.
Mhm.
And so the word mental health, you know, for the last, you know, we're hearing it more and more now, especially after COVID. But before then, you know, to say the words mental health, you know, these words were kind of like, nobody really wants to talk about mental health, and they don't, you know, yeah, they don't really want to talk about it. So are we become less fearful of the words now, or less, you know, less stigmatized, you know, of the word mental health, or the term mental health?
I would say so. I definitely think it's accepted to go to counseling more so. I think the stigma still exists a little bit, and a misunderstanding that you have to have a major problem to come to counseling, or an
Yeah, yeah.
absolute diagnosis, mental health diagnosis. You know, our main client base is just everyday life stressors, like, you know, self-esteem related, school phobia, burnout at work, frustrated relationships and communication problems. And so, you know, just the everyday stuff that everybody needs support on.
Right, right. Go ahead. Go.
Oh, I was just saying it's, you know, because I'm not, you know, a counselor, you know, I get operations ends of
Mhm,
everything. It's
mhm,
for me one of the big things that I've noticed is being able to hear a definition, like, or a term for
mhm.
things that people are experiencing. It's almost relieving, like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, so what I'm experiencing is not just me, like
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not weird, or I'm not, you know,
Mhm.
all of these things. Like there is a, like, for instance, decision fatigue is something, you know, we talk about, you know, a lot, where there is, you know, a term where, you know, people that are exhausted mentally because they are making thousands of decisions a day, you know, which then is kind of a domino effect of all these other things that are happening, which we, you know,
Mhm.
won't go into the
Mhm.
specifics of that, but just knowing that there are terms that relate to how you're feeling,
Mhm.
you know, just allows you to understand, like, okay, like this is normal. So then, because there's a term for it, there's a, you know, definition for it, then we can, sometimes it's easier to comprehend, to then work through to get better.
Mhm.
So there's a
Yeah,
problem, there's now a solution
Mhm.
absolutely.
um, to it, which is a big deal.
And you know, I think it's so important because most people feel as though, once again, like you said, you know, uh, that something's wrong with me, or I'm the
Mhm.
only one. And
Mhm.
so there's that aspect of just, you know, being by myself in this whole thing, and not realizing the
Mhm.
community that you guys also bring too, because that's
Mhm.
something that is really cool too. The community part of the one of the five. And if
Mhm.
you don't mind sharing a little bit more about that, because me myself, I am probably naturally more of an introvert. Now, when it comes to, you know, connecting with people and a group of people, I'm okay, but I just can't be in noisy environments and things like that.
Mhm.
So then that's when I become an extrovert. But as long as I can be in a community where we're all kind of like have a common goal, I'm totally fine. So share with me a little bit about the community aspect, or the component of the Oaks.
Go ahead. What's your
How about what comes to mind for me with that is just the ability to link to more than one branch. And so
Mhm.
that we're not staying isolated, you know,
Gotcha.
in any feeling. And so it's so meaningful and impactful to watch a client attend our Thursday night group. And let's say week 3, they get comfortable, they start feeling a part and accepted, like they're not alone in no matter what they're going through in life. They start learning about wellness. And week 3, we say hit nutrition. And so they start implementing a little bit of that into their lifestyle. Then we get to mental health week and they consider, you know what, I think I might need to take advantage of counseling. I've got a few things I want to work through. And so we're able to set them up with licensed clinical counseling, and they start growing, in that aspect, and then learning to trust that other counselor that they're working with. So building community that way. And then we always have some crazy project, moving something somewhere, doing gardening, and they can plug in that way in a volunteer aspect, where they're using their hands and working in a group, building community that way. And so it's really powerful to watch a client who does maybe 3 of the 5. It brings wellness quicker than when we try to work at it on our own.
Yeah. So who are your clients? And when I say that, because you said, earlier that it doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to be in this extreme state, but people come to you when they
so feel stuck, I would say. Definitely lonely, isolated, hurting. It could be a particular event that's really causing that extra symptoms and emotional response. Or it could be that, like, I've had this problem that keeps getting in my way in life and I'm tired of it and I want to do something about it. And so I want to start and work on that.
Awesome.
What do you think?
I think too, I kind of hit this, but grief, from, losing loved ones. I think we see a lot from the obvious, from COVID, where people can't get out. They can't go to school, from being in that social, environment, just kind of all relationships.
It's really neat. We serve children in individual counseling, and even parents bringing them for more proactive skills, so that like 5 years from now, they don't have a mental health diagnosis because they have all these skills of how to deal with anxiety and those typical anxious feelings of an 8-year-old. When you work on those at 8, then they're less of a problem at 16. And so we love to give skills. That's one of our favorite reasons to be in the schools, providing the wellness consulting services for them. We do a 12-week curriculum on this model and just real tangible worksheets based on that developmental age. And just to think, like, to give them those skills so that later they'll be okay is so cool.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
And for them to understand. Go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
For them to understand, like, why is exercise important to my mental health? Why is rest important? Why, do I need to have friends? What a healthy friends. I mean, and to see their faces, and like, oh, like, okay, like they connect the dots. And that's really neat.
So, and I think, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's so important, I think, in this age of technology, especially if you are, under the age of, let's say, 17, and because pretty much all you're used to is, connecting through technology. That's been a way of your life for the most part. And so I do find that need for community. And like I said, me, myself, I grew up being an introvert. And so to be around people, but now I understand the importance of connecting with people, that I need it, and I love learning about people. I love listening to their stories, because everyone has an awesome story, from the tragics to the triumphs. And and I love hearing people's journey, especially when they can end up in the triumphs. And if I can be there to help them or lead them to the triumphs, then by all means, I will definitely be there.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, the community part and the connecting part is so important, so important.
Mhm.
So, I was going back, coming back to you, Christina, since you're the exercise person that started, and that was the first thing right out of your mouth,
Yeah.
you know. And so I do want to kind of like, go over some practical things that people can do to bring down either the stress in their lives or
Yeah.
just reduce a little bit of the anxiety that they might be feeling. So are there any little strategies and or tips that people can just take from you two just right now, just to kind of like, thank you?
I think first and foremost is understanding too with that it's not going out and running a marathon, and it's not, you don't have to go, bench press 5 million pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's that intentionality of like, what if it's a walk,
Mhm.
if,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, it doesn't have to be some crazy, event whenever, specifically, with exercise. If it's at home, like
Mhm.
jumping rope for a few minutes
Mhm.
or stretching,
Mm.
one of the things that I know like the clinicians talk about too is, we have these amazing breathing exercises
Mm.
that they do that are awesome.
Yeah.
And even, that stretching, piece, and how that is exercise
Mhm.
too. And then, doing that before bedtime or whenever you wake up, it helps you sleep. Our clinical director talks a lot about when she has clients that can't sleep well, that actually she has a routine she helps them with as far as getting up in the middle of the night when they can't sleep and actually doing some stretching and then going back
Gotcha.
to sleep, that helps that rest piece.
Mhm.
What else would you say?
Um, so recognizing that it's not something that will last long term. It doesn't have to. It feels so intense. Anxiety does in the moment, and I think when that's a common problem for you, it can feel hopeless and like I don't have any control over this, and just really challenging that to be not true. That I can
Mm.
take these particular steps, like Christina just mentioned, and that's going to have an impact on my anxiety over time.
Mhm.
I just need to stick with it and be consistent. And
Yeah.
then I just really encourage people to not try to do it alone.
Right.
There's so many ways to not walk through that alone.
One of my clients, she's going to be moving away, and we have formed such a great bond with
Mhm.
exercise, and also just being someone that she can share her thoughts with. Uh,
Mhm.
and so part of some of our sessions are outdoors. And it's a way for us to kind of like connect with nature at the same time too.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I think one of the ways that I connect with God is just lying down on the grass and
Definitely.
just taking it in that way. And so it gives me a sense of awe. It gives me a sense of peace. It gives me a sense of just
Mhm.
I'm okay, you
Mhm.
know, and the and the craziness of it all.
That's right.
And so yeah, so that's like I said, yeah. I go ahead. You're gonna.
Just therapeutically, we call that grounding, and it is,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah, just a major reducer of anxiety. And it
yeah,
sounds so simple, but once it's a simple technique, then someone can implement it in their life every day, and it
yeah,
really does make a dramatic difference.
yeah.
And we haven't talked tons about this, but the spiritual strength spoke, I think,
Mhm,
is one that's
mhm,
really underestimated. And for Christina and I personally, that's coming from a Christian belief.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
um, and it that understanding that God cares about me, values me
mhm,
like crazy, wants the best for me, can battle all those thoughts that cause anxiety in a
mhm.
way that it's really hard to recreate in the mental health world. And we
Right.
meet clients where they are on that, but I've noticed in my work just when clients are open to that understanding, it reduces anxiety really effectively.
Awesome. Well, ladies, where can we find you guys online? And a question right quick. Do you guys work with people virtually?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We have telehealth.
We have telehealth and accept Blue Cross Blue Shield. We're paneled with them, as well as, which is awesome, is we have a sliding scale. We have a campaign that we do at the end of the year where all of that funding goes to that sliding scale to help serve clients no matter their financial needs. We're able to offer up to 12 sessions for them based on their annual household income, which is we're really proud about. And it's the community, the support, that we have that, pours into that to be able to offer that to clients. So
awesome.
You can schedule appointments online. It's theoakscommunity.org. You can Google the Oaks Community. It'll come up there. And there's a section right there to schedule appointments. And we have all of our information as far as, if anybody's interested, in the consulting that we do in schools or businesses, to offer people.
And this friendly face answers every phone call.
And I noticed that today.
Yeah, so just mainline 336-338-9291. And
awesome.
We can kind of help people get connected where they need to be, where they fit in our community.
Good deal. And so you are in the awesome city of Greensboro or outskirts, or where are you located?
We're in Pleasant Garden, so right outside of downtown, really, right off the highway, at South Elm Eugene exit. So not too far from all highways.
Okay, awesome. Well, ladies, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I truly enjoyed your energy and your profession and your approach once again. And so thank you for what you're doing. And all that you do, because like I said, there are people that are looking for you, and anything that I can do to help, provide a resource for people that I come in contact with that need your guidance, then I'm definitely going to look up the Oaks Community. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. Well, we are here and we are ready to help. So
thank you once again.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks for what you do too. We thank the world of trainers and for how you support people in that way. Both of us, it's helped change our life. And so thank you for your work too.
Great. So everyone, thank you so much. And once again, thank you to these ladies for hanging out with me today a little bit on the Living Your Best Life podcast here. So listen, we're going to be doing this, of course, again, soon. We're going to have another professional come on and talk about what they do and how they do, and what they do is contributing to a healthier society, a wealthier society in some cases too, and just a better society in general, like I said earlier. So once again, everybody, thank you so much, and we'll catch you on